Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VIS Radio channel. And today we have a very special guest from All Hands Taiwan. His name is John. And would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is John Murn, originally from Wisconsin. I've lived in Taiwan for about 15 years. And after a long career in ad agencies and digital marketing, now I work in higher education. I have 4 master's degrees and PhD programs around the world. I'm also co-founder of All Hands Taiwan, which is a professional networking platform. We help people connect to whether they're hiring, looking for projects, looking for work, trying to understand how to get the resources they need for their business, that kind of.
So, welcome to our channel. It's an honor to have you. And our first question, so I know you already mentioned it a little bit, but tell us in your own words. So what is All Hands Taiwan?
At present, All Hands Taiwan operates regular English language networking events. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I was fielding a lot of inquiries from people who were primarily college and graduate students, international students, and teachers who love Taiwan, who want to stay here, but were maybe not expecting to have their whole career as a teacher, especially Bushiban teachers. So those people would ask me, how did I get my job? Well, at the time I was working in an ad agency, but there wasn't really a clear path because I didn't have any peers that I knew, other international professionals at that time. So I would encourage those people to network because that's how I made my career, which was by being very proactive and going out, meeting people, asking for meetings, taking interviews, taking projects. But I realized that there was not really a lot of places for those people to go. And it just kind of worked out, since I do a lot of public speaking, that it made sense for me to start my own set of events to see if that resource would be valuable to other people. Since I was telling people to go network, they didn't really have anywhere to go. So we tried to create that space.
So tell us how the kind of a story, I'm curious, of how you started All Hands Taiwan.
Yeah, I mean, the essence is kind of what I mentioned at the beginning part, which is I was already looking for a good cause. But here in Taiwan, I speak, passing Mandarin, but I'm not a local. I don't speak Taiyu. I don't speak Hakka or any of the other more nuanced or localized languages. And so I struggled to find, it's easy to go and volunteer, let's say, at a beach cleanup. But I was hoping to find an organization where I could contribute on a more sustained basis, whether they needed marketing help or somewhere else that I could help. But I couldn't really find a local organization. So at the same time as when I was getting all these questions from people asking, how did I get a job? And I was telling them they should go network. So I kind of had these two forces in my life of like, I'm telling people to go network, but there's nowhere for them to go. And I'm looking for a good cause, but there's no cause that matches. So then I kind of decided, okay, well, I'll start some events by myself. Most of my friends told me that I was crazy, but that's probably because there was nothing like that in the market, and then nobody we knew had really tried it. And right at that time, I guess it was kind of fortuitous timing, I met my partner, Danny, who was fairly new to Taiwan, and his job had to do with recruiting, and so he was actually very interested to help me. I met him because he was working with his own company, but he was interested in the idea, and so we decided to work on the project together.
So Byron mentioned when you came in that you were the co-founder of All Hands Taiwan. So I'm curious in like more detail, what is your role kind of at the present in this organization?
So at the moment, we're now 4 core members of All Hands Taiwan. Technically, my title is executive director. One thing that's fun about being the founder of an all-volunteer organization, you can give yourself whatever title you want. So the title's not as relevant to what I do. So my other partners, I think we try to focus on each other's specializations so that we can get the most out of our 4 people. But as one of the core founders, and then with Danny, I think Danny, he's bilingual, which is essential to our organization. He's more business oriented, and I think he's a more savvy cultural communicator than I am. So his role is a little bit more actual business development and negotiation with companies, whereas my role is much more kind of, I don't want to say social, but initiating relationships with all kinds of organizations, companies, people who might speak at our events, companies that might sponsor us, things like that. I also set up all kinds of partnerships. I do a lot of these kinds of interviews on our behalf. I don't think that's a stated role, but it's just something that happens.
I think it's really great what this organization does, because as I'm not in the job market yet, but as a high schooler, you often like have to find internships for your college applications. And like, I think something like this would have really helped me find internships and opportunities to grow. And as a co-founder, I'm sure you've seen this organization grow from just from the starter, right? So how has your organization grew and kind of transformed as time goes on, I guess?
Sure. Well, as an all-volunteer organization, we're kind of in the unique position of using the people and resources that come to us, because we're not able to hire and go out and attract lots of people. So, the organization has grown from just me and Danny at the outset to now being 4 core members. And we've had several interns at different times, and we've had dozens of different volunteers. Absolutely. I would say the organization has grown based on us evolving in a kind of learn by doing type situation. So we learned which things we're good at. We learned which things we're passionate about. We learned which things other organizations are not good at. And, that's helped us understand how we want to offer something. And today what that looks like is we're primarily an event-based company because we're really good at running this kind of networking event. I think, we care about things like choosing a good venue, having good food and drink, having a nice photographer, which helps people often take away a nice photo from the event and remember why they were there. So, over time, like I said previously in our other meeting, we have had a couple of job fairs, which was an amazing experience to help people find jobs and help companies with that. But it's a tremendous amount of work.
Awesome. I am really honestly impressed by what your organization does and what you have done to kind of market for yourself. So before, last question before I wrap up my part. So I want to ask, what does the future look like for All Hands Taiwan?
At present, it seems like sustaining our regular networking events is the core of what we expect to do. We have over time hoped to get different kinds of corporate involvement and sponsorship. The Taiwan market does not have a mature corporate social responsibility. When companies offer money to an organization, they still kind of hope to get something tangible back. And running a job fair is a little bit out of our scope because we all have jobs. For now, we hope to just continue to host what I think is Taiwan's most vibrant professional community and be a great place for people, whether they're hiring or looking for a job.
So that's kind of a wrap up for my part, and I'm going to hand it over to Stanley to ask more Marketing Central questions.
So earlier you came in and gave us a presentation about marketing, which I'm actually the marketing manager at VIS Radio. So I think it was really helpful for us, and thank you for coming in doing that for us. My first question for you is what kind of skills do you look for within an excellent marketing team?
It's a good question. If you think about a small company, marketing resources are limited. When I build a team, I usually look for complementary skills to what I have. So if I'm thinking about me being the center with a copywriting background and a strategy background, for example, I have no design skills and I'm not a good project manager. So depending on what my marketing needs are, someone with one of those two skill sets is likely to be somewhere that I'll. So I think the basic part of my answer would be building a marketing team effectively generally requires complementary. And so that's why I think, as I shared earlier, that's why ad agencies look kind of like a factory line where there are specializations, because you put all those specialists together, they can accomplish.
That's really interesting. So like parts puzzle.
Yeah.
My second question for you is, how do you recommend going about building these skills? Like you said, you have a background in copywriting and strategy. How do you go about practicing and building these skills?
There's many things that go into it. It's before you have a clever idea to get through a niche business problem, you have a strategy that helps you align the brand with the problem. Of course, you can choose to take writing classes, graphic design classes, data analysis, video, etc., and you absolutely should. most professionals would be willing to offer some mentorship. Never hesitate to reach out to someone. It can feel intimidating. It can feel like someone is too busy or too important. But there's actually untold opportunities approaching someone.
That's for that insight. Throughout the talk, you've recommended a lot of outreach and like reaching out to different people, and that has really like sort of inspired me to realize that I haven't really been doing that throughout our marketing team. And thank you for that. My last question for you, since right now as the marketing team, we're working on different campaigns for the different teams or different channels. What do you think is the best way to refine and adjust a marketing campaign as time goes on?
I think it starts with being open. If your viewership tells you that a video didn't perform, then look at and again try to understand why that is. There are several reasons why that might be, right? Someone who has a reputation for creating snappy 1-minute videos that are really funny might make a couple 20-minute videos. It might not be that people don't want to see the 20-minute video. Their audience is not yet ready for that kind of content.
Thank you for that. I'm going to hand it off to Flora now.
So just to wrap up, we still have a little bit of, so just out of personal curiosity. So, why did you come here, choose to come here to this small little experimental school to give us this lecture? Is there anything about experimental education that you're particularly interested in?
I get invited to talk at a fair number of universities and schools. I think one thing I've learned at All Hands, been able to see firsthand the benefit, what happens when people offer to help.
Thank you. So that's about all the time that we have today. Thank you for your insights. I think it's honestly been really inspiring to have someone as experienced as you to come on and talk to us about kind of your process in the industry and stuff like that. And it inspired me a lot and given me a lot of more knowledge into what this industry is like. And just to wrap up, thank you for coming, and we hope that you had a good time here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.